Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with ReadyNet Solutions. Today's host is Bill Pedersen, and he is their Voice Product Director and will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, as always, please submit them in the question box, and Bill will have an opportunity to answer them at the end of today's presentation. Bill, thank you so very much for being with us again today. We greatly appreciate it. I am finished for now, so please go ahead and take it on over.
Thanks, Julie, and thanks everyone for joining us on today's seminar. And we got some great, exciting breaking news coming out of ReadyNet and also FaxBack. For those that aren't familiar with FaxBack Solutions, FaxBack Solutions provides a voice over IP fax service that you can connect basically an ATA to your traditional fax machine and be able to do faxes over the internet. We've talked about this topic quite a bit, POTS line replacement in the past, and this is one more exciting news to bring, that we are partnering to be the provider of the hardware solutions for FaxBack to be able to provide these services. And I'd highly recommend you, if you haven't are not familiar with FaxBack, go to faxback.com, check out their website, and you can learn. Now, who are the people that can use FaxBack services? Excuse me, I got a little tickle. Basically, schools, education, government, municipalities are heavy users of fax services, law firms, financial institutions. And to bring some history back to this, we're, as we talked in the past, fax line, or not fax lines, but POTS lines are going away. And we're starting to see that creep all over the United States. Prices are increasing dramatically. The services are going away. They're not offering it. People have these fax machines. They're like, how do I now fax to my remote locations, to my other offices and that? Well, by adding this little device in between the fax machine and the phone outlet on the wall, you can now, actually, you don't even need to go to the phone outlet on the wall. You just go to your internet connection. You can now do secured fax services over HTTPS. And the way we do this is FaxBack actually embeds their application, their firmware, on our ATAs. And when they have it configured, they give you a fax number. They can port over an existing number if you already have, or issue a new one. Once that's connected, the fax process just goes as normal. You go to your fax machine and you do this like you normally would. Put in your fax transmittal, dial the remote number. But instead, as you can see from my illustration, we're now going over the internet and then back to the far end of the fax machine. And what we do is we actually store the image of the fax locally on the ATA device, the ReadyNet device, and then it is uploaded to the cloud, to the FaxBack server, and then transmitted over to the remote end and received on there. So people can still get their faxes. We're compliant with T.38. We're compliant with all the compression algorithms that are out there to be able to make this happen. This is kind of nice, because now I don't have to give up my multifunction printers now. I can still be able to use those and still be able to fax as business as normal, okay? The other great thing is we can support up to a single line up to multi-lines within a facility. And we'll go over some of the products that we use on that here in just a moment. But this is great. A lot of the big carriers, your voice over IP carriers, use FaxBack. They actually white label FaxBack as a service on their back end. So I'd love to share with you the pricing on that, but I just don't know what that is because every carrier is different. But it is very cost effective and typically cheap or cheaper than than your traditional phone line that you were paying for historically. So great news, and we are so glad to have FaxBack as a partner. And you're going to see a lot of things coming out, press releases and news items and such. So here are 3 of the ATAs that we're currently, or FaxBack's currently using for the services. We've got the FTA 5102E2, which is a 2-port fax line. You can use it as a 1 or 2-port. We have a 4-port device, and we have an 8-port device here that just normally connects right into the blue port here on the WAN to your network connection, and you can then daisy chain these things out and connect to multiple fax machines as needed on that. And this is awesome. That in fact, I think traditionally most hardware vendors for these types of fax services are either single port or 2-port, but now we have 4-port and 8-port solutions as well. Oh, can't forget this one also. We've talked about the LTE 520S, but we're also going to be able to do HTTPS fax services over this with FaxBack. They'll have their application on this. In fact, their engineers are working with our engineers to solidify this application. And so you can do this over WAN or over LTE. Now, the great thing about this, the 520S, is you've got 2 ports on it, so I can support up to 2 fax lines if I need to at a business. This one also has Wi-Fi, so if I'm in a kind of a remote part of the office where maybe I just don't have an Ethernet drop, or we want to put the fax machine in a different area, you can actually bridge this to your existing Wi-Fi and get connectivity over your Wi-Fi as well too. So yeah, so a couple of options here. You got your traditional Ethernet-based ATAs, and then you also have an LTE version of your ATA as well also. So this opens up a lot of opportunities. One, you're going to see a cost-effective solution. Sorry about that. You're going to see a cost-effective solution on hardware now, because our products are a lot more competitively priced. And this is what ReadyNet does. We like to work with other partners, other service providers that have unique product offerings, embed their solutions on our products, brings a little bit more value add to them, and also gives their customers a good, solid, and robust product to work with as well also. Here is some more information. So you can always contact me, 801-984-5130. There's my email address, bpedersen@readynetsolutions.com. And for more information, if you want to become a reseller or learn more information regarding FaxBack, you can contact FaxBack at that information there, 503-597-5350. Now, here's the question that I always get asked. Do I have to buy the hardware from FaxBack, or can I get it through ReadyNet and its channels? Yes, you can buy the hardware from us. Once the you can buy it through the ReadyNet channels. And what I'm trying to say is, once you have product, all we have to do is just redirect the hardware to the provisioning server at FaxBack, and they can do that as well also when you contact them to order services, and then your device will be fully provisioned and ready to go. So really good news. We're excited about this. This seems to be a big change, not only for ReadyNet, but also for FaxBack. And we're very excited to be able to partner up with them and offer these services. So with that, Julie, I want to throw this back because I believe that we'll have some questions for people that are not familiar with the faxback services, and I'll do my best to explain them. And maybe some people that are not familiar with the whole fax services over IP as well too. So maybe we might have a few questions. We could open this up and answer some of those at this time.
Thank you very much, Bill, for that presentation. And yes, I do have some questions for you. So let's get started with the first one. Here we go, Bill. Are there any compliance standards that your VoIP fax solutions adhere to?
Yeah, basically the Telecommunications Industry Association, TIA, they're a big part of the fax standards, and those are the T.36 and the T.38 standards. And basically what those are the handshaking protocols that allow us to send and receive this information. Now, keep in mind, our devices are store and forward. So we're basically taking that fax image and that's basically what it is. It's an image, and we can send that over to another machine through our server or through the faxback servers to the remote locations, and then they can hand that off. So you're gonna get a lot more consistent results in sending and receiving faxes by using this type of a service, and it's going to be a lot more consistent. So if you have large documents, let's say 100 pages, 150, 200 pages, heaven forbid that you have one that big, but that happens a lot in medical applications and financial groups as well. You have these large documents you need a fax. It's all stored locally and then forwarded out to the servers and then sent to the final location. Now, one of the great things I like about faxback is that they always send you a confirmation to your local fax where it originated from, letting you know that that fax transmittal went through. Or if there was an issue at the remote end, it will give you error codes for that remote end. So you can notify them, maybe it's offline or something, but you can verify and validate that that fax did go through.
Thank you so much for that, Bill. We got the next question here ready to go for you. How frequently are your solutions updated to address security issues and improve performance?
That's a great question. We're always working with all of our partners, and even from internally within ReadyNet to make sure our products are up to date with the most secure standards and security measures possible. And I want to say we do V.2.0 now, which is it's a standard for security that's out there now. It hasn't been out there that long, maybe a year at the most. And so, yeah, we're constantly making sure that that all of our transmitters are both PCI and HIPAA compliant for those that are involved with medical environments as well too. Now, I'll tell you this though, a traditional fax machine is not PCI or HIPAA compliant at all, because it's just going over a standard analog phone line, and there's no security involved with that at all. But with doing it over IP, we are adding a level of security for that.
Excellent, Bill. Thank you so much for that. Couple more questions. Next one goes, what level of technical support is available for configuring and troubleshooting the FTA model devices?
Oh, it's real easy. With the faxback services especially, because once we load the MAC and serial number in to our provisioning server, it redirects it to the faxback services. So when you have when you order your new services, whether you're a service provider, ISP, voice provider, whatever, MSP, it'll automatically provision that device remotely as long as it's connected to the internet and is checked in, and our engineers can they don't monitor it, but they can actually see it happening once it's completed. It will be completely set up. It's probably one of the simplest things to manage and provision out there.
That sounds great. Thank you, Bill. Next question here. Can the FTA model devices facilitate fax transmission over SIP trunks or other VoIP protocols?
Yeah, in fact, actually, when they do this, let me see how they. Well, put it this way: the standalone FTA 5102, or the G504 or 508s, they actually have a T.38 feature in the router. So if you want to use an existing SIP line provisioned on the route, on the ATA itself, it would work perfectly fine to do that. Now, you run into the kind of the same issues. You really need to verify and validate that the switch will be able to support those types of features and be able to handle the calls, and also make sure that the license that you assign that ATA is just basically dial tone. You don't want to add any call waiting features or any other calling features to it, because if something happens, a call comes in, it'll definitely mess up the transmission of the faxes. That's why we really like the FaxBack solution and are glad to work with them, because now we're taking it over IP and we're eliminating a lot of those individual items. But yeah, you'll have a SIP registration from FaxBack when they provision the device, and a 10-digit phone number, just like you would with any other fax machine.
That sounds really fantastic. Thank you, Bill. Last question here for you.
Mm-hmm.
How does the FTA model devices ensure compliance with data protection regulations such as GDPR or, and you did speak about HIPAA, HIPPA?
Let me take a look at the GDPR compliance, because that is not one that I am familiar with. So I might have to come back to that one, or have you reach out to me directly on that. Yeah.
We could do that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that, because I honestly don't have the answer. That looks like more of a European requirement, and that I'm not too familiar with right now.
Yeah, it could be. It could be because some of our questions from our audience members perhaps could be overseas, and they might be referring to something like that. But in any case, Bill, thank you so much for answering all of those other questions we had for you today. Absolutely. And thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, or if I need to follow up with anyone for further questions, such as this last one perhaps, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, please remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel, so we can all view it again, which I know we all can do. And it's an excellent reference to do that. And I've done it many times myself. So everybody, Bill, I appreciate it. I'm going to send you an email and let's confirm the next webinar date. Everybody, have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Julie. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Bill.